Hi, bro. Si Nightly. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, good to see you, DJ 70 times 7. Yeah, I'm doing okay, bro. Doing okay. Been looking forward to this.
Yeah, man. It's been a while, man. I've been supporting your music for a little while now, and I'm just checking out your songs actually. Obviously, the ones I've been looking at, you've got Signs, Kingdom Restoration, Who Am I as well, and
Hmm.
obviously Broken Systems. Congratulations with that one, man. That's a really good track.
Yeah, appreciate that, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
Tell us, man, how did you get into the scene in the beginning?
Yeah, well, I've just always, ever since I was a youngster, ever since I was a teenager, I think I love rap music. I grew up in Croydon. I live in Croydon now. I grew up in urban Croydon, and I've always felt like I had the privilege of mixing with lots of different kind of friends. I mean, coming from a mixed race family and a mixed background in many ways, various different influences.
Yeah.
And with my friendship circles, it was very much like that. Do you know what I mean? And some of my good friends are just really into rap, and that just the whole urban culture that just gripped me. I love rap music. From when I was a teenager, I remember, being at school, and we listened to like radio on rap show recordings, on our Walkmans, as it was back in the day, you
Yeah.
know, with my mates. And a few of us, we just like to write rhymes, and it started off as kind of garage, which would have been like late 90s. I don't want to reveal my age here. Yeah, it was that was kind of where it started in terms of the MCing. Then I got more into writing rap, hip hop, particularly when I became a Christian, when I came to Christ, which is back in 2005 now. And then I won't say exactly how old I was, but a couple of years after that, that was when I actually first wrote my first gospel track. So I bet it was basically a track, my testimony. This was in 2007. And then got together with a couple of friends, and we actually started a group. This was called The Rescued. We had a MySpace page, that goes back a little way, doesn't it? But none of it was. I didn't record any music or anything like that. Wrote quite a lot of songs with another guy who was a rapper. You might even know him actually. You might even have had him on your show. He goes by D7 now.
Yeah,
D7.
yeah. I know 27.
Yeah, yeah. So we actually used to rap together. We had this group. We were in our mid to late 20s, and we had a couple of friends who sang vocals with us, and we do youth events, evangelistic events, open mics, all that kind of stuff, but never actually recorded any music. And then life happened, and some of us got married and started families, and etc. etc. And went our separate ways, stayed in touch. But I always wanted to kind of write my own solo stuff, and did some experimenting with spoken word and that kind of stuff, because I love poetry and spoken word, all that kind of stuff. I've got a very eclectic music taste. But it was a few years ago, but probably about 5 years ago now, that really felt that God was calling me to start writing my own music and actually record it professionally. And so I had a conversation with a couple of friends, one of them who was releasing music, and he introduced me to another friend of mine who was now mixing and mastering all my songs. And at that point, I didn't really even have any idea like what went into actually, creating a song in a sense of recording it, and it playing on Alexa when you ask Alexa to play it. Do you know what I mean? Obviously Alexa wasn't around, a few 5 years ago, whatever. But this guy talked me through the process of what it would involve with coming in to getting recorded, getting it mixed and mastered, and then obviously I've tried to learn how to push the singles out there, etc. This is back in like 2019, and then 2020 I released my debut singles at Easter time, Calvary Hill and The Third Day. And basically my plan was basically just to release a body of work, release a project of work. But the guy who was mentoring me, one of my colleagues at London City Mission, I work for London City Mission, and he said to me, Si, because you're a new artist, much better to just release some singles, and let people know about your music, that you're out there. So what I did with The Third Day, I did eventually release it as an EP, but I drip fed it as singles. So Calvary Hill, The Third Day, None Like Him, Kingdom Restoration, Signs. I only kept one back for the EP, which was New Creation, and I released that eventually a year later. Did Who Am I, which is a standalone single. And then, over the last year, a couple of guys have been saying to me, Si, you should look at drill, give that a try. And, I'm up for trying, various different types of music. I love music. So thought I'd give that a try. And because I've come from the garage era, it's the same tempo, 140 BPM garage, which then fed into grime, which is now fed into drill. So I like the beat at that tempo, and managed to find the pockets with the flows and that. So yeah, gonna be releasing a few different drill tracks.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I say. That's what I love about your music, is that it is very grimy, and that you definitely flow at that kind of level where you just gear in on it every time, and I love it. Is that D7? Is that the one that I think is now partnered with Solomon? Is that Solomon and D7?
Yeah,
or is that different?
Yeah. D7, yeah. We were chatting on Insta a couple weeks ago. So well, I don't see him too often, but we were just reminiscing about the times we used to rap together. So
was that in London or was it somewhere else? Because I think Solomon he's somewhere different now, isn't he? Like Birmingham or something.
I think he's Midlands, but D7 is London, South London. So we weren't living too far apart from one another. I mean, it's just we were rapping together. It was a couple of years, probably from 07 to 09.
Do you think you could go back and do more garage stuff now or DMB stuff now?
Maybe. I mean, what I want to do really is I want to use the gift that I have of rap and storytelling in rap for the gospel to reach out to as many as I can. I think those are genres that I'll always appreciate. Do you know what I mean? I think for some of the younger guys now, that's a sound that probably they're not listening to that much. Do you know what I mean? So on the one hand, I'll always appreciate that kind of music, but I want to be, in a position where the tracks that I'm writing, the bars that I'm writing can be heard and can travel as widely as possible. So I think probably going to focus on doing some more drill stuff, and I guess the sound that's the most current. But I think hip hop is, in terms of rap, hip hop is just timeless. And I think I'm never going to stop listening to hip hop. Drum and bass, I'll always love drum and bass, grime. But I think in terms of like the most current sound, it's probably a little bit more narrow, isn't it now? I don't know. What do you think? What do you think, DJ 70x7, in terms of like current rap sounds?
Well, here in the UK, it tends to be more drill. My preference on drill, though, is that I'm not that into when it's this kind of the drill that's very kind of slow and melodic, and it's kind of, one word leading to another word. If it's a bit faster, up tempo, I like it. Grime obviously is very UK based, but yeah, I think you're right. I think at the moment it's more drill based here in the UK. My show deals with a lot of US rappers though, and in the US it's it's hip hop, it's rap, and that's that's their kind of medium. They're stuck on that. Yeah, but anyway, D&B and garage, I think, like you're saying, you're not sure you can go back in. Is that because like with garage and D&B, the kind of fast tempo, the way they speak and stuff, it's kind of harder to give out a message?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Signs is quick, so I really enjoyed writing Signs with Daper. Big up Daper. Let me shout out to my guy Daper. Great MC and a good friend of mine. So I think with Signs, it's interesting because I was talking to one guy. I won't name him, but there was one guy who's got a music platform on Instagram, and I sent him Signs, and he basically what he said was he actually found it too quick. It was really interesting. So he actually said, the bars are too packed for my personal music taste. This guy was saying he found it hard to listen to. You know what I mean? Whereas for me, I've grown up on music, like UK music, from garage to grime to D&B, that packs the bars, with rhythm. And it's interesting what you just said, DJ 70x7, about drill, because when I first started listening to drill, and I'll be honest with you, I've only been listening to, gospel drill. I don't like secular drill. I've only been listening to gospel drill probably for the last 18 months or so. And when I first heard it, I was like, yes, it's a bit too simple. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit too, almost feels a bit static at points. So with broken systems, what I've tried to do is still find the pockets and have, although I wanted it to be distinctively like authentically drill, I've tried to find those pockets and have those even like more grimy flows, you know, in between. But I'm with you on that, and I think that's probably it's just preference, isn't it? It's probably having appreciated music a little bit earlier, and you know, a love for rhythms. You know, I play drums, so I love rhythms, and you know, with drum and bass, garage, even jungle before, and of course grime. You're talking about more technical rhythms and rhyme schemes as well, and I think drill is just very much more simple, stripped back. But you know, it's what a lot of people were listening to, particularly young people, and so you know, I wanted to see how I could, you know, with my way of creating songs, which is a bit different, just see if I could, you know, I could use that, redeem it from a gospel point of view. In terms of like, would I go back? Yeah, you know, I don't want to ever be as an artist like boxed in. Like I wouldn't say, you know, I'm this type of artist in the sense of I'm a drill artist. You know, obviously I'm just made a drill track and I've got some more coming, but I wouldn't describe myself as a drill artist or a hip hop artist or a grime artist. I just say I'm a gospel rap artist. You know what I mean? And I think the beauty of that is it's a broad category, and I've never want to be boxed in. And for me as well, that really is a reflection of who I am. You know what I mean? I've never really had a bracket where I've thought, like, in terms of life, this is where I fit, you know, this is where I fit socially, you know, or you know, ethnically, or do you know what I mean? Like, there's always been like, there's these different brackets, and I feel like for me, you know, cyanide, I fit a little bit into this bracket, a little bit into that bracket, a little bit into that bracket, and that's just me. That's who I am, and so my music reflects that, you know. I think I haven't heard a lot of people making garage beats anymore. You know what I mean? I feel like that production is probably something that has more in the past. But, you know, if it did make a comeback, so to speak, I'd love to be involved with that. And I think D&B, you know, has a smaller following than it used to be, than it used to have. But I'll still always love listening to those kind of rhythms, you know?
I guess the thing is that, like you said from the beginning, it's like if you're trying to think, the main priority of it is that you want to be able to give the gospel and in a relevant way, in a way that people can grip it and understand it. Could you use, you know, something like garage and D&B? Because I think whenever I've heard garage and D&B, it's very fast. You know, you talk about you can't really understand what they're saying. That's, you know, so could you give a message if you use that type of genres, you know, for the gospel? I mean, you could still do something with it as a creative, definitely. But if you wanted, if your sole purpose was to give a direct, solid message of Jesus, you know, could you do that so well? I put a question mark on that.
I think because of the speed of it, you know, I would instantly lose a lot of listeners. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, when I released Signs, for instance, so I had my father-in-law, who's like really interested in what I'm doing. Like, rap music's not his thing at all, but you know, he's really interested because he's a believer. He sees this as for the gospel. When I released Signs and I sent him the video, he was like, couldn't understand the word of it. Do you know what I mean? So I sent him the script of my lyrics so he could follow along. And I think for other people, you know, that if I were to do it like D&B, like 160, 170 BPM, I think there would probably be only a small, do you know what I mean, a small minority of people that would be able to really follow that lyrically. I mean, Daper and I actually wrote a D&B track about 10 years ago, and we never recorded it. And it's, you know, still to this day not been recorded. But I think with D&B, like, you have to be a D&B fan, you know what I mean, to really appreciate the bars. Whereas I think because it's so speedy, a lot of people that would just, you'd lose them. So yeah, it might be something that I'd do at some point, but I wouldn't expect the music to travel as widely, you know.
Talking about Daper, he's a solid artist and very similar to you on the kind of grimy side. How did you guys first get to know each other?
Yeah, so day part, it was actually a friend of mine who was at Bible it wasn't Bible college. It was there's a course called Cornhill, which is in London, which is basically a preaching training course. And my friend Kate was on it, and she met Daper on, he's one of the students on the course. I mean, this is back in, Daper and I've known each other probably about 12, 13 years. So this was 12, 13 years ago. And she said, "Oh, Sai, there's this guy on my course, Daper. I think you guys will really get on. He's also a rapper. Let me introduce you to him." And so this is when I was living in North Croydon and Streatham, just beyond, in Lambeth. And Daper was Roehampton way. And so Kate introduced us, and then we just hit it off. We hit it off, and we've been really good friends ever since. Just love the same type of music. And I remember him coming down to my church in Streatham at the time, and he did some rap. We did lots of rap evenings and evangelistic outreach events for the youth. And then he came down and did an evening, and then I think we talked for a long time about writing a track, and then wrote a couple of tracks, but it wasn't until we recorded None Like Him 10 years later that we actually did a track together. So it was a mutual friend. We hit it off. Have enjoyed friendship for many years, and I've written a lot. We used to just sit in the car. Go to McDonald's, sit in the car, rapping in the car. But it was lovely for 10 years later, then to do None Like Him, and then several months later to do Signs, and then you heard We Preach Christ, right? Have you heard that one?
I'm not sure. I think I've obviously got the ones you sent me. I don't think you've sent me that one, so I don't think I've heard it now.
Send that one. So that one is David's track. He released it Good Friday, but I know he was out the country, I think, at the time, so I think he lined it up. I'm not sure how much he pushed it, which he should have done, because it's a good track. So let me send that to you after this. It's David featuring me, so he was handling that one, but it's called We Preach Christ, a hip hop track. So I'll send that one to you.
Yeah, definitely check that out. And in terms of your music now, like you said, so working on it single by single, is that the way that you're going to keep going forward, or have you got any plans? Because obviously now you've been at it for at least a couple of years. And I think the single by single is the best way. But even like doing like a small EP or something could work. So have you got any plans for the future?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask that, actually, man. So I've got a couple more singles planned for this year. And then a couple more singles planned for next year, but towards the end of next year, kind of autumn next year time, I'm already working on a project. It's going to be a 6-track EP. So there is a project coming. I'll release it as a body of work. I don't think I'll release any singles from it, so it'll be fresh for people to enjoy. Again, it'll be a cohesive body of work. So that's all I'll say about that for the moment. But
yeah, that's good. Looking forward to that then. And do you reckon, are you still playing with drill, or you want to get back to the grind?
It's going to be a mixture. So I've got next couple of singles. Planning on doing another couple of drill singles. I did actually record last year. At the end of last year, I recorded a trap hip hop track with an American guy who I've connected with through the Godflow show. Do you listen to the Godflow?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Show? Yeah. So I got into that just when I was, first starting to release music a couple of years ago, and just connected with some of the MCs on there. And obviously with modern technology, you can be across the other side of the world from someone. I connected with a rapper there called Nick Nack. Big up Nick Nack. Shout out to my guy Nick Nack. He lives in Hawaii, and we just connected on Insta. We chat on WhatsApp, and we recorded a rap hip hop track together. So I'll probably release that. I'm going to release the next couple of drill tracks, and I'm going to release that one probably early next year. So got a couple of singles next year as well, and then I'm going to release this project. It's going to be a mixture. It will be a mixture of drill, hip hop, rap. It will kind of reflect where I've got to so far, if that makes sense, from a sonic point of view.
And you are very biblically based with your lyrics. Is that obviously because you're a Christian, but it's like, I think it's because it's part of your job as well as a minister. Is like, do you find that you kind of have the, it's impressioned on you, like you've got to really give that message in every song and really declare it?
Yeah, I guess I feel that. Yeah, I do feel that deeply, and I think I've gone on a journey with this one, man. You know, in terms of you know what artistically the license that we have as Christian artists, you know, in terms of how much we communicate of the gospel and how much we don't. And I think I used to be of the impression when I was younger that, you know, if you're a Christian artist, you must preach the gospel in your music. And actually, I don't think that now anymore. I think that if you're a Christian artist, your music still needs to be godly. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be ungodly. It shouldn't be unholy. But you know, some Christian artists want to make secular music, but it be wholesome, and that's absolutely fine. And then I think there are some Christian artists that, you know, that want to make Christian music that's kind of nominally Christian, but still godly, and I think that's fine. And then there's others of us that, you know, really feel called to proclaim Christ in our music, and I think that's great. You know, for me, yeah, I've since I've become a Christian, I've just always had a passion to proclaim the gospel. That's what I do in my job. I'm privileged to work for London City Mission. I work as a missionary and as a team leader. So, you know, the privilege of working with other missionaries and encouraging them and supporting them and leading them. So it's just in me. You know, I'm an elder in my church, which is a great honor and joy. And yeah, as long as I can remember, I've had a desire to communicate clearly the gospel, and you know, God's given me this ability to rhyme and create songs, and I've just always wanted to do that, bro. You know, and I think as well, I would say one of my observations in the Christian rap scene is that there seem to be fewer guys who are, you know, who like really want to proclaim Christ and the gospel with you know, with in terms of bringing some depth to that. And that's not a criticism of others, but it's just I see that there is what I perceive to be a, you know, a gap there. Do you know what I mean? And I think, well, if I can be one of those guys who can do that, you know, then praise God, let me do that. As I say, not to be critical of others who aren't doing it, but you know, I guess to put it most simply, you know, I know the kind of music that I like listening to. Do you know what I mean? And I want to make music so that others who like the kind of Christian rap music that I listen to can have another artist to listen to. Do you know what I mean? I was heavily influenced over the last 10 years of like the Lamp Mode guys in America, you know, Shylin, Timothy Brindle, you know, Hazakim, all the Lamp Mode guys, Christ-centric, cross movement. But I think there were fewer of those guys in the UK who would do what I call lyrical theology, you know, and those guys are, you know, are really rapping the Bible. Those guys are really bringing Bible stories to life. Those guys are really, you know, cleverly rhyming theology lyrically, you know, and Christ is really very much at the center of their music and of the songs that they're creating, and so that's naturally influenced me. And you know, as a UK guy, I want to do that. You know, as a UK guy, as a Londoner, I want to do that. And you know, Vapor's very much the same in that respect. So yeah, just really enjoying doing that, man. And I hope the music's a blessing for people and encouragement. You know,
it definitely is, man. I mean, personally, I really enjoy your music. Obviously, straight bars, and then I like straight bars with the message. I think it's really good.
Thank you, bro.
Oh man, I think we should just explain your background, because obviously you explained it to me before, but everyone is going to watch this as a video. Your background is, you said it's the Seychelles, right? And that's where you're originally from?
Oh, the background, the photo background. Yeah, well, yeah, that's where my mum's from. Yeah, so I'm mixed race. My mum from Seychelles. My dad white British from Croydon, and I was born out there, but then I came here maybe 4 months old. Do you know what I mean? So I've lived there. I've lived in, you know, in Croydon in the UK my whole life, but I was born there. So I'm very proud of my Seychelles, what they call Seychellois heritage. And it's a beautiful place. So I took my wife on there on honeymoon, and we haven't taken our kids yet, but hoping that in the next few years get a chance to get out there and take them there. Yeah, lovely place, man. Very beautiful place.
Yeah, man. It looks it, man. So that's something to be jealous of, just the photo.
Yeah, for sure. paradise on earth, I think, as close as you can get to it. Yeah.
Lovely, man. All right, man. Well, it's been a blessing talking to you. And, you know, I pray everything goes well for you, man, musically. I think you're doing a great job at the moment. Keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing, man, because I love your sound. I love the way you rap. And I just pray everything goes well for you, man.
Thank you, bro. Listen, appreciate your encouragement, man. And, you know, thanks for supporting the music. I think, you know, as a guy who's, you know, started releasing music a couple of years ago, completely unknown, you know, I really value DJs, you know, promoters, people that are gonna champion you and support your music. So you've done that from the start, bro. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
No worries, man. Yeah, we're definitely gonna be continuing to do that. So yeah, man. Peace and blessings to you, man. It's been great chatting to you. And obviously this is first of many, hopefully.
Yeah, look forward to that, DJ 70x7, definitely. And I'll make sure I send new music to you. Thanks for playing Broken Systems.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's in the playlist. It's in rotation. Definitely.
Appreciate you, man. Grace and peace.
Man. Peace out, brother.